I've had 3 or 4 dreams in the last 2 years about these tsunamis hitting the east coast of Australia, and this would be the 4th or the 5th that I've had about that series of events. It's hard for me to keep precise records, well, it has been until recently because it's been so chaotic as I've been moving around going through this healing process. But yeah, this would be the 4th or the 5th dream about it, and I got a new level of detail about these tsunamis hitting Australia that I hadn't received before in any of the other dreams. Okay, I just moved. Quiet location, there was some people moving around where I was before, so I can concentrate better now. Fairly simple. Most dreams like this that I get they're fairly simple and to the point. There's not too much detail. Some people get really long movie-like scenes with tons of detail, and it is almost like a scene from a movie. I have had dreams like that, but I have very few. They're typically shorter. This is sort of intermediate because it's a shorter message, but I got a lot more detail than I usually get. Nevertheless, the messages I receive tend to be pretty short and to the point. I do recommend checking out other people's channels if you're interested in this content, because as I have gone over before, it's really about the number of other people receiving the same messages that is the powerful and compelling thing here. That's the real evidence that they're real, and lots of people who don't know each other getting the same message. So, okay, I'll get into it. I wrote down my account when I woke up, so I'll read it to you guys. In this dream, so this is my dream from 2 nights ago that I had just after recording those videos that I just posted. In this dream, I could see myself in Wellington Harbour, and this Hikurangi subduction zone megathrust earthquake had just occurred. I was shown an interesting hybrid kind of map unfurled on a large table in front of me. It looked like a cross between a mariner's map of I think it's called the bathymetry of the contours and topography of the seafloor beneath the surface of the sea, and an interactive computer screen, all lit up with electricity and displaying different numbers, phenomena, and events as they happened on the physical area of the Earth's oceans, which this map represented in real time. So the map was showing the surface of the seabed, but there was a little detail about what was happening on the water above. When the earthquake off the southeast coast of the North Island occurred, I could suddenly see large bends and distortions on this animated computer map of the seafloor, which were moving from the bottom right of the map, the southeast, towards the top left, the northwest. So the map was oriented north to south. Small numbers in circles followed the bends and distortions as they changed, and as those distortions changed as they moved, and the numbers increased, and the increase in number represented an increase in height. So there was information on the map about the seafloor, but then I said there was a little bit also about what's happening on the surface of the sea, and these distortions represented waves. And so I've got written here, I was shocked and surprised to see how large they were. So the distortions that I saw represented waves, and there were the numbers and circles represented the height of the waves. I clearly remember seeing the numbers 20, 30, and 40 in the dream, but I knew that even though we were in a Commonwealth Anglo country where they use the metric system, that these numbers denoting the height of the waves were being given in feet, not meters. So 40-foot waves would be about 13 meters high, or a 4-story building, which correlates nicely and neatly with the 17-meter height I was given in a much earlier dream from God about the total run-up height for the waves, which I was given for Days Bay on the eastern side of Wellington Harbour when the tsunamis from this earthquake strike that part of Wellington Harbour. So this figure will naturally be a little higher than the number of meters in height of the waves themselves, because when they hit any hillsides, as they break on the shore, their momentum will carry them uphill somewhat. So I saw those numbers, as the waves were moving around, they were changing, and so I'm saying I was being given in this dream clear numbers for the height of the waves in Wellington Harbour, which is kind of interesting and exciting, because I haven't been given specific information on stats like that for a while in these dreams, and that's really useful information. It correlates with the 17-meter figure for the run-up height for the tsunamis in Days Bay, which I talked talked about in my 32-minute, it's about half an hour long video about my prophecies about the Hikurangi. The Hikurangi prophecy video, which I made recently. And it gets more interesting though, because then what happened is, and I'm going off the page now because that's all I wrote, so I'm just going off memory now, but I clearly memorized it after I woke up. Like, I played it back to myself 2 or 3 times in my head. I do that deliberately because it helps me to remember it afterwards, otherwise I can forget them quite easily. So then the map of Wellington Harbour changed. That was really interesting, and it changed to the southern and southeastern parts of Tasmania. Then I saw the waves moving in and hitting the land, and the numbers in the circles changed. And now I knew, and I was basically told, that they represented the number of deaths of the people on the land, and the numbers massively increased very quickly, and they went up to 4 digits, so thousands. And I saw a number of something like 4,000 for the death toll in Tasmania, and I was really surprised. But thinking about it when I woke up, it kind of makes sense, because there's the old saying, God is a poet, and I was being shown what was happening in Wellington, and then the map morphed, and I got shown the same events in Tasmania. So it was saying that the height of the waves in Wellington Harbour will be similar to the height and strength of these tsunami waves when they hit the south and east coast of Tasmania, because now it appears it's going to be much bigger than just New Zealand. It looks like it could be these 4 mega quakes, and that the tsunamis that I've been seeing hitting the coast of Australia in recent years, in my dreams, that those tsunamis are caused by earthquakes that happen at the same time this one off the southeast coast of New Zealand does. That one, I can't see how that would produce tsunamis that would hit Australia, because they'd have to go through the Cook Strait. It just doesn't make any sense. There's a land barrier between the epicenter of the quake, New Zealand's North Island, and the northern part of the South Island and the east coast of Australia. But if these earthquakes happened off the west coast of New Zealand, a few hundred kilometres or even just a few hundred kilometres off the coast of Australia, then of course it makes sense that Australia would be hit by large tsunamis. So it's just what I dreamt. So yeah, there you go. You've got the rough height in feet for the tsunamis in Wellington Harbour, and then I was shown in a kind of elegant way that the same kind of events happening in Wellington will be happening in Tasmania when Australia gets hit. And I did get shown small other pieces of the coastline, Victoria, New South Wales, and I could see numbers there, but they weren't as clear. But I have seen in my other dreams about tsunamis hitting Australia that they hit at least the coast of New South Wales, and I've seen dead bodies on the beaches there. So I think it's going to hit the whole southeastern coastline of Australia. So that would be Tasmania, Victoria, and New South Wales will all get hit, presumably. But I've only been shown clearly that Tasmania will be hit very hard. And is there anything else to add? That's pretty much it. I hope this helps, and I will post more information soon. I will post videos with the detail about the tsunamis that I've seen hitting the east coast of Australia also.